Good morning. I had some people. Actually, I wasn't acquainted with them. Now after talking to them a little bit, I've got to know them. They called me from Georgia, and they're getting ready to go on a trip. Uh, they're they're going to be retired this year, and they are driving from Georgia, and they're going up into Nova Scotia, and then they're going to come back down in the United States, back down the United States into the Northeast, and then maybe head out to Niagara Falls or maybe come back down the East Coast. Um, and they noticed that I end up posting a fair amount of stuff of places that we visit, either just my wife and I or with other people. So they reached out to get my opinion on some different places and things that they might want to see. And oh my gosh! So over the years, my wife and I we've seen a good deal of things, and actually, we consider ourselves quite lucky. We're still working, but we use long weekends and vacations, to go do things, and we have actually enjoyed seeing a good amount of stuff. So, in sharing some of this with her, she noticed that I had done rallies before and asked if I had any plans of doing any rallies coming up, and I went wow, my wife and I haven't done a rally since COVID. It was before COVID, I think, was the last one that we did, and holy cow, we're getting to 2025. It's been almost 5 years since we've done a rally, and we were doing one or two rallies a year. And in retrospect, I think now that I think about this, I remember my wife saying that she wanted to take a break from it too. We were doing so many of them. It became, I guess, maybe it became a little bit much. She had enough for a little while. But anyway, so Janet, this person I was talking to, and asked me about the rallies. I went, well, we haven't done those for a while, and I mentioned to my wife, hey, I was talking to this woman, and she asked about rallies. And she said, wow, we haven't done a rally in a long time. It's actually kind of sad. It really made me start to think about, wow, we need to do one of these things again. So what's the big draw of a rally? Done right, they're a lot of fun. And they don't have to be about anything special or in particular. And I'm not talking about getting together out in the middle of an open field and drinking a whole bunch of beer and getting crazy. Well, that could be fun too. But we tended to do the same sort of thing, but in different locations. A number of families would get together. We would plan potlucks that we would do. We normally had a couple of things that we would go out and do excursions that were planned. We call them excursions, or hiking or whatever, with plenty of time to relax and kind of catch up and share stories and stuff, because that's probably one of the I think the funnest things is listening to other people's stories about what they've done on the road and the things that they've experienced and the things that have happened. Just thinking of some of these make me chuckle to myself. I could share a whole bunch of them with you, but unfortunately not here, not now. But anyway, so a rally, the best way to do that is first is to reach out to the group that you have. That can be a couple of families or maybe a couple of maybe a dozen or more. We've had as many as almost 30 at one of the biggest ones. So that's a lot of units. And these days, I think it would be kind of hard maybe to get that blocked off. Let me back up. So, getting a number of people together, and picking a weekend or a week when you're going to do this beforehand is probably the most important thing you want to do. A lot of campgrounds, which I'm sure if any of you are, have an RV, and I'm sure if you're watching this, you do, have run into to policies with campgrounds that if you want to go and stay at that campground next year in the same site, on the same week or weekend. Before leaving, you go to the office and you check in with them and you say, "Hey, I want to be at this campsite next year," and you can go ahead and book it, put a down payment on it, or a reservation, or what have you, and then you're all set for next year. I really have some heartburn with those kind of policies for a couple of different reasons. Yes, some people know, hey, I have this week off every year. And I'm going to be here. Aside from somebody getting sick or some change, some life change, I'm going to be here. But others don't necessarily know that, and they book this, and then it's booked until maybe a few weeks prior to when the reservation is, because the cancellation policy says, hey, if you don't contact us, at least 4 weeks out or something like that, you're going to lose 50% of your deposit or all of your deposit or whatever. So that really can mess you up if you're making plans at the beginning of a year. January for us, here in the Northeast, most everybody has their units winterized. They're not using them during the winter. There's some that still do, and they go south or they do some winter camping, but there's not a lot, and there's some specific reasons for that. But so you want to get these things organized and ready to go as soon as you possibly can. So at the beginning of the year, January is a great time to reach out to these campgrounds and look into having sites blocked. And what they do, what that is for your group, you'll give your group a name, whether you're 3, 4 or 5, sites that you're reserving or whatever, you give that group a name, and then your friends or neighbors or whoever's coming to this rally or you want to come to this rally can call the campground and give that name, and they know that, well, they're part of this group and these are the blocked sites for that group, and they'll have their choice of, whatever site is available. And they make their reservations. Now, there's a little etiquette with that. When you do that, is anybody that's going to go in this group, I would ask you to caution them that they need not to wait. If they want to go, they should make that phone call to the campground within the week. The campground, booking sites is how they make money. So if they've blocked sites and they're not getting phone calls, and they have sites that they cannot reserve because you've got them blocked, that's not fair. So get everybody lined up and agreed on the dates, and then the campground, and have them call and make their reservations. Now, one thing we've done beforehand, because we've had people that are coming from maybe out of state, or halfway across the country, and they're not familiar with a campground. We may end up helping them by offering them a site or setting a site up, for them. You want to be careful about that too, because not every site is equal. So it's best, unless there's some sort of special need, you get the sites blocked, and then you let the people that are going to come for that weekend make their choice for their site. That way there's not any hard feelings that, hey, you put me in site 2 here and there's, an ant mound, and I don't, why did you do that to me? Just avoid those complications. The other thing too is, in planning these, especially the more people you have that want to go to this, the more there is a chance that you're going to have somebody that can't make it because there's some sort of interference with the schedule, or maybe they've got kids are in sports, or there's work issues or something like that. Unfortunately, you can't. In our experience, you can't help everybody all the time, and we even ran into one situation where it seemed no matter what week we picked, the same guy had this every single time. He had something going on. He'd ask us to move it. Well, the other 15 people that were going, the other 15 units, everybody was all set. I can't, I don't want to move the dates again to accommodate one person. And in doing that, in my experience, I tried to do that before because I want to make everybody happy. But in trying to move that, then there were other people that now weren't able to go, and it became a mess. So the best thing to do, is hey, we're doing this weekend, we're doing this week or whatever. If you're able to go, great. If you can't, maybe next time, or we can plan something else. And then do it that way. If you got a couple of people, a couple of units, it's a lot easier. But, once you start getting over, I'm going to say, I don't know, 10 units, it starts to become a pain. So, and there's a lot of things you want to consider with this too, but those are probably some of the biggest. Let people go ahead and choose their own sites. If the campground's going to block the sites off, maybe you should get an idea of what sites they're doing. Sometimes they'll tell you, sometimes they can't quite tell you. They know that they can get you sites, but they're not exactly sure where. And sometimes they might be broken up. Now, getting broken up sites, and I mean, instead of having 6, sites in a row, you've got one site here, there's 2 down here, maybe a third over here. That's not so bad. That's, we've had that happen beforehand. It's okay. We'll pick a site or two that we meet on a like a nightly basis. Maybe one of the sites has a larger fire pit, fire ring, more chairs you can fit around it. And we'll gravitate over there, and it works out fine. We've gone as far as blocking sites. We've actually rented or booked a site where some people don't like it, and maybe some campgrounds won't let you do it now because they're as busy. But I had I don't have them anymore, which makes me wonder maybe I ought to get one again if I'm going to start doing this. They go by a couple of different brand names. They're Hercules or whatever. They're 2-inch pole framed tents. They're 10 by 20. You can get them 10 by 10. Some come with sides. They have windows or plastic windows in them. You can put a bunch of them together and have a wedding underneath them. If you wanted to, they're pretty nice, and some are better than others. But I got this one. I don't think I paid $200 for it, and it might have been at a yard sale, but it was brand new. Everything in the plastic box, the whole 9 yards. And we would set that up, and it's perfect for setting picnic tables under. We put a whiteboard in that, and we'd write down the different activities we had going on. We get into bigger groups. We'll get into that. It's kind of fun. We'll do that in a separate video. But we would, rent a site, put that up, and picnic tables and stuff went underneath that. And that was kind of a gathering point. It had a fire pit. We were able to bring all of our chairs over there and whatnot. And it was a great place to meet. If it was going to rain with a tent, all the chairs could be folded up and brought inside. If it was raining, we had picnic tables we could bring underneath that. It worked out really, really well. And we got to a point in a couple of those rallies we had 2 of those tents. So that might be something to check into. Now, as busy as campgrounds are, they may not allow that. But anyway, so reservations. Getting people together, getting things set, working with the campground as far as what sites are booked and where. Maybe you want something closer if the campground has a pool, something closer to the activities or playgrounds if you got kids or something, or maybe you want to be away from that. Getting those things planned, those things you should keep in mind, especially with the type of group you have. If you have we're older people that are there, they're not really up on the noise. Maybe being away from the playground's not such a great idea. Maybe you got kids and being right next to the playground. Hey, go to the playground. You get them away from you can still see them, but they're not in the campground and underfoot. We've done that before too. So good things to keep in mind. So if you like the video, if you have any questions, please drop them into the comments. If you like the video, please hit like. And I hope you'll search for the other videos that will cover the different aspects, different things you can do with the rallies and how to make them interesting and keep them going. So thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you. Have a good one.